woke up from my coma a week before I let my family find out. The car accident was bad enough to put me in a medically induced coma, but when the doctors reduced my sedation, I woke up trapped inside my own body. I could hear everything, feel everything, but I couldn't move or speak or even open my eyes. It was like being buried alive in my own skin. The first thing I heard was my husband's voice in the hallway, soft and warm in a way I hadn't heard in years. "I know, I miss you too," he said. "Just a little longer, okay? I promise it'll be worth the wait." He hung up and came back to my bedside and squeezed my hand and told me he loved me. His voice sounded completely different when he said it to me. That night, I finally managed to wiggle my fingers and the nurse noticed immediately. "Oh my God, you're responsive," she said. "Let me call your family right now." I squeezed once for no. She asked if I was sure and I did it again. I didn't know what I'd just heard my husband say, but I knew I needed to hear more before anyone found out I was awake. My sister stopped by the next afternoon and took a call halfway through her visit. She had no idea I was listening as she said, "Stop, you're gonna make me blush," she whispered, giggling like a teenager. "I know it's hard, but we have to be patient. Soon, okay? I promise it'll all be worth it." I knew that giggle. When she hung up, she walked over and held my hand and said she couldn't imagine what I was going through. She said she just wanted me to wake up so things could go back to normal. 2 phone calls, 2 secrets. I asked the nurse to bring me paper and a pen, and I managed to scrawl a shaky note to my doctor. "Do not tell them I'm awake. Let me listen." A few days later, my mother showed up and didn't even sit down before bringing up my life insurance policy. "I'm not trying to be morbid," she told my husband, "but have you looked at the paperwork? The payout is significant. You need to start thinking practically about your future because nobody would blame you for moving on." My husband said he really appreciated her support during this difficult time. She patted his shoulder and told him that's what family was for. The next day, my husband came alone and sat with me for over an hour. He held my hand and talked about our marriage, how he'd been unhappy for a long time, how he wished things had been different between us. He talked about all the things we never did together, and all the ways he felt like he'd been holding himself back. "I've been thinking a lot about the future," he said quietly, almost to himself, "about what I actually want. I think I'm ready to move on. I think I've been ready for a while. I just didn't want to admit it." He talked about taking a trip somewhere warm after all this was over. Maybe Hawaii, since I'd always wanted to go, and he'd never taken me. He said it like he was doing me a favor by finally going without me. Like I should be grateful that he was living out my dream after I was gone. He squeezed my hand one more time and left. I still didn't know who he was sneaking around with or who my sister had been whispering to on the phone. I just knew that everyone around me was hiding something, and none of them knew I was listening. On day 6, my whole family gathered for a meeting with the doctor about end-of-life options. I had already told him what I wanted to happen. My mother walked in and announced that keeping me on machines was selfish. She said I was always the dramatic one anyway, and that I wouldn't want to live like this. My father nodded along without a word, same as he'd done my entire life. My husband stepped forward with tears running down his cheeks and delivered a perfect speech about how I would have wanted this and how he needed to find closure. When he finished, I heard my sister move closer to him. "I love you," she whispered. "We're almost through this." My brain went quiet for a second. It was each other. The whole time, it was each other. Then my sister sighed. "Honestly," she said, "this might be a blessing in disguise." The doctor let them finish. "I appreciate your perspectives," he said, "but I think we should ask the patient." My mother started to say that I obviously couldn't respond, but she stopped when I opened my eyes. My sister was holding my husband's hand. Their faces fell the moment they realized I was looking right at them. "Tell me again how this is a blessing in disguise." My sister started crying and saying she was sorry, over and over, and my husband couldn't even look at me. I called security and had them all removed. My sister looked back at me from the doorway, and I gave her a smile. "He's all yours now, you pathetic vulture."